Welcome back to Sunrise Today. Well, yes, Mr. Robert Obafosu, a legal practitioner and a public affairs analyst, joins us next to give his perspective on the Edo elections. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, yes.
Well, so many scenarios here. First, before this election, security police had said they were going to deploy 25,000 policemen to these elections, but now they come up with this advisory. But even INEC themselves said they hadn't received the report at the time it was made. What does the law say about this?
Well, though I am shocked, I must say that they're giving security reasons for wanting to postpone the election. While we are still waiting for INEC to formally make a statement on that, the law is quite clear. Section 23 and 26 of the Electoral Act gives INEC the powers to postpone the election. But I think it will interest you to note that, if you don't mind, I would like to read a portion of that Electoral Act to you, Section 23 and 26 rather, please. And I'm sure our viewers will find that aspect of that law very informed. Section 26, subsection 1. Where a date has been appointed for holding of an election and there is reason to believe that a serious breach of the peace is likely to occur, if the election is proceeded with on that date, or it is impossible to conduct the election as a result of natural cause, we all know that, disaster or emergency, the Commission may postpone the election. I shall, in the area, in respect of the area or areas concerned, appoint another date for holding of the postponed election, provided, emphasis, provided, that such reason for the postponement is cogent and verifiable. Cogent, apart from the natural disaster, because we can all, when a natural disaster happens, or where there is an emergency as to maybe there are riots, we will all be able to witness it and see that it is verifiable. And that will take me to the build-up to the 2015 election. In February 14th the election was supposed to be held in February, sometimes February 14th, I guess. We are witnesses to the havoc that was being committed by Boko Haram and the rest. And we did not hear the National Security Advisor, we did not hear the police, we did not hear the DSS, but INEC coming to tell us that for reasons given by the Office of the National Security Advisor, they are doing this. This is very different from the situation we have in our hand. Professor Mahmoud, the chairman of INEC, is in Edo State, having meetings with stakeholders. It is within the meeting of the stakeholders that the question was now put to him that this is what we are hearing, that the police in Abuja headquarters and the DSS are talking about postponement, which gives room for serious suspicion. And I think this government cannot afford to continue to have this issue of confidence. And I think Nigerians must begin to speak out, because I think a lot of things have even gone into recession in this country apart from the economy. Confidence has gone into recession. Integrity has gone into recession. Whatever you want to talk about, virtually everything has gone into recession. I hope democracy does not go into depression.
Does that then mean that the intelligence, which the police say is credible, are we going to dismiss it with a wave of hand?
No, but the law, this is a country governed by law. The law says you must give reason and the reasons must be verifiable. So it is not sufficient for you to just say security, intelligence. The man that came before me, you see, even though he was a security expert, he could not decode what security, what is meant by intelligence. If there are intelligence reports The president, it means the intelligence report came less than 24 hours after the president visited Edo State.
So you're saying we shouldn't be bogged down by any vague statement coming from the security agencies?
Quite honestly, we shouldn't. We shouldn't. As a country, otherwise people won't take us serious.
Would you have loved to see it be? How detailed would you have loved to see it?
Well, I expected them to say, okay, not just end at security intelligence, rather. They should be able to tell us that, okay, we apprehended 1 or 2 people in the creeks and that they confess to the fact that they are planning untoward actions with respect to the election. I think that will make sense to Nigerians. And nobody will begin to give room for suspicion.
But even that can be questioned if that happens. So, but no,
at least that has not happened now.
Let's bring in Mark. Mark,
well, I had to laugh on that one, Chamberlain, until you said that, even that can be questioned, because you bet that it will be questioned as to, where those 2 people would have been picked up from. But then, security agencies always say that, when they do their work in silence, and they're able to disarm or disable security threats, they're not celebrated then. It is when these attacks happen that people say, where are the security agencies and why have they not done what it was that they've done? The police commissioner, while he was speaking, or is it the DCP now? While he was speaking, he gave examples of the threats that they had encountered before now. He talked about May Day celebrations, he talked about previous Eid celebrations, and how they were able to successfully diffuse those threats, because they were informed sufficiently before time. Do you think that because we were not privy to some of those things, we do not quite appreciate perhaps the gravity of what it is that the police could be trying to convey?
Well, Amakwe, that's a very good question. But I will tell you something, please. The INEC chairman, if the police had credible intelligence, the first point of call any rational person will want to think should first know about such development is the chairman of INEC. Not them going to the public, as a matter of fact, raising the fear. As far as I'm concerned, that was not really did not exist. I think the INEC chairman should have been briefed first before going to the public to advise INEC on television. Because INEC virtually got the advice on television.
You don't think that INEC could have been accused of complicity in that?
Sorry?
You don't think that INEC could have been accused of complicity? Because if the INEC chairman was in the dark like everybody else, he was informed just then while he was having meetings with the stakeholders, he cannot be accused of having done some meetings behind with government agencies, as it were.
Well, I think that would have meant breaching protocol, in my view. Because we are talking about security here. And you're talking about strategic election that affects the country, that has constitutional boundaries. Well, like I said, though they do have the power to postpone any election based on the Electoral Act, but I am of the view that the way they had gone about it gives room for suspicion, and that as a country we don't need this anymore.
Okay, so if I understand you properly, what you're saying is that there seems to be some sort of abuse of process. So is it about just not going about it the right way, or is it that having gone about it the wrong way, does it invalidate the credibility?
No. It does not. I stated that earlier. The law permits it within a timeline. I'm sure they have up till 12th of October to hold election. So to that extent, to me, they have not breached any part of the law. The point I'm still making is that as a people, someone said on your program that integrity, confidence is money. And that we need it. We need it more than anything. As a matter of fact, in some certain fora, we hear that part of the reasons why we are in the situation we are as a country today with respect to the economy is because of investors, not investor lack of confidence in our system. So with this, are we building more confidence or what?
You know, let's talk about the timing again, because you tried to put this side by side with what happened in 2015. Some would say they had more than enough time for them to re-strategize and maybe fall back and see what they can do with the postponement of what we saw in the 2015 election. But with this coming 72 hours to the big day, how does this sit for the people in the state?
To be very honest with you, I live in Edo State. When I live here and I'm going to Edo State, and I must tell you, in fact, history is just repeating itself. In 2012, when election was to be held for the second tenure of the present governor of Edo State, you will recall that President Jonathan led everybody in Abuja to come and campaign in Edo State. And I remember and recall very well that the comrade governor then said that Jonathan and the people from his entourage from Abuja were not going to vote or add one vote to the election. And we all are witnesses to what eventually happened. It was 18/18. And I'm telling you that is what is going to happen in this election because I live in that state. Look, this is just the truth. History is going to repeat itself, whether you just like it or not.
So people are the ones that will vote, not people from Abuja.
I even think the people are going to be much more. I even think the people are going to be much more ready now. Are going to be much more energized. Edo people, they are reasonably well informed politically, and they will be more energized even if they postpone the election.
Do you smell any kind of security tension in the state, since that's where you stay?
As an individual, personal opinion?
Yes, personal opinion.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. In fact,
how has the
last week
or about all the parties?
About 2 weeks ago, when the Americans raised the red flag, listing Edo as part of the states that had security issue with some other northern states, I was one of those that supported the governor's view then. I had the same view with the governor, that Edo was safe. The governor was on your channels and told the world that the Americans were really not abreast of the situation in Edo State. That was just about 2 weeks ago. And I was on the same page with him on that matter. Now, and the president was in Edo State less than 24 hours ago. I am very, very sure if the state was not safe, the president would not have gone there.